Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about Black Clover episode 80, and oh boy, this was a really good episode too. So I'm super excited for everything that's going on in this tournament now. Honestly, the tournament in general has been it's been fine. There have been some good parts for sure. However, up until recently, until we got the second round, the matches have just been kind of like, win, bam, boom, somebody wins, somebody loses. We move on to the next thing. Now we're starting to get some depth, and we got some depth into I believe it was Mimosa, and we got some depth into Soul in the last episode, and it was really cool. And oh boy, we got some more depth into Finral and his brother Langris, and things are really heating up. So the entire episode is Finral and Langris's teams going up against each other, and first of all, Langris is still a dick. Nothing has changed there. However, we started getting to see a little bit more of their past when they were kids, and we see that maybe it was probably his upbringing that made him this way, rather than him just always naturally being a prick. Granted, that doesn't absolve him of all the things that he's done. However, his parents were both of their parents were really not super great either. Now, I don't remember if they ever brought this up in full detail prior. Obviously, we've had some interactions with Finral and his brother prior to this. However, it sounds like, so both of them have the same daddy. However, they both have different mothers, and I forget if they ever brought up what happened to Finral's mother, seeing as he's the older brother. But it's classic case of like, father siding with the more talented one, who ends up being Langris anyways, even though he's younger. And then obviously Langris's biological mother is going to side with him anyways, so it's like there's a whole thing. They all treat Finral terribly, and ultimately Finral leaves the house and just kind of makes a new life for himself. But through all this, Finral is super kind and nice, and it turns out that the next out of their household was going to marry the niece of the king of Clover Kingdom, and because Finral was kind of being passed over, it would have been Langris that married her. But we see some scenes where Finral's kind of chit-chatting with her, and she's nice, but she's a little sick, and Finral's just kind of being a genuinely nice kid at that point anyways, and she kind of sees the good in him, and that like really all the terrible things that his family says about him are not true. He's a talented wizard. He does what he does. He's a cool guy, and someday he'll just be really great, and he's probably better than his brother because of all those things. This, of course, spurs on Langris to be more hateful towards Finral, and it's that whole story of the families against Finral, even though he's a really nice guy, and they're all awful. That being said, Finral is a grown-up big boy now, and he is super badass as well as being super nice, and he's got some really cool magic behind him. So he's always been a supportive magic, lots of just teleporting people from one place to the next. We see this a lot with him sending Yami to the bathroom, and he's really a supportive type, and that's not a bad thing. That's just, it is what it is. Everybody has different strengths and weaknesses. He is a supportive type wizard, and that's fine. His family doesn't think that's fine, but they're awful anyway, so who cares what they think? So once the match starts, the big guy, who I still have not learned his name, uses his mirror magic to kind of figure out where the enemy crystal is. And meanwhile, you got Langris and Aha, who, still an idiot, they're heading towards Finral's crystal, and like they're doing the same thing that they did in the last match that they were in, where the girl that has the snow magic stays behind, and the two of them kind of rush towards the enemy crystal just to take it out real quick. However, things take a turn for them, or at least don't turn out as cleanly as Langris would have wanted it to. Big guy finds the enemy crystal, and once Langris and Aha show up, it turns out that Finral not only wants to just fight his brother, but he's the best person to do it because spatial magic cancels itself out. So if you use a spatial magic towards somebody and they use it towards you, it'll just disperse right then and there. So really, Finral is the best person to take on his brother. And I know I said in the last review of this that I am kind of getting bored of the sibling versus sibling, but this is a really good episode. So, Finral sends Big Guy and Leo to head towards the crystal now that they know where it is, and he's taking on Aha and Langris. From the start, obviously, there is a mounting threat because Langris is a really powerful wizard, and he's doing what he can do, and he's circling Finral in the crystal, and Finral's just doing what he can to cancel out the magic that's coming towards him, and in the end, Finral does something really cool. I like his magic a lot. Like, it's really, like, passive in a way, but it's also really interesting. So he sends out this giant green blob light thing, and it's basically just kind of like a slow-moving thing, and Langris and Aha are just like, you'll never catch up to us, that's not going to do anything. But it's basically a homing missile, and no matter what, it'll come after you. Eventually, it hits Aha. Langris is just like, I'm getting out of here. He's not even interested in it. But Aha is like, I'm not going to let you get me. I use up my shield. It's not going to hurt me. Lo and behold, because Finral's he's not an attack mage. He's not an attack wizard. So it's going to do something different. And it does something really cool. So once the green glob kind of hits you, it'll just teleport you somewhere else. And we got a really funny part where it turns out that Yami is actually in the bathroom. Lo and behold, they actually talk about this prior to the match, and they're all like, Yami would be here, but he's kind of feeling unwell, blah, 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 and he's in the toilet, obviously. And of course, Asta did not put any toilet paper in, so he's kind of stuck there for a while. In any event, once the green glob touches Aha's magic barrier, it teleports him away from the battle site, leaving just Finral and Langris. And again, kind of going back to what I was saying with Yami, it teleports Aha to Yami, so they're face to face in the toilet, and Yami's just getting more and more angry. So I think the green glob magic spell teleportation thing kind of has the same limitations as Finral's magic in general, where it kind of has to send the person somewhere that Finral has been or knows of, somewhere he can think of. In all of this, Langris is just getting more and more pissed. He's still thinking down on Finral, and it turns out that he's got like a similar magic. At the very least, if Finral's is more defensive and supportive, I mean, clearly Langris is more of an attack magic. But if Finral's green glob magic is just teleports people away without hurting them, I imagine that Langris's version of it, because they said it's very similar, is probably a bit more rough and tumble with it. While all this is going on, Leo and the big guy confront the snow girl. I gotta learn names. However, they're confronting the snow girl. She uses some snow magic to try to put them to sleep. It affects the big guy, but because Leo has got his fire magic and he's got his mana skin, really doesn't affect him, but he's putting up a good fight against her. However, it's just not quick enough of a play because Langris really overpowers Finral, and that's a shame. And he does it in such a brutal way, too. So the final attack between the two of them is Langris is forming a bunch of these dark balls, and it's reminding the people that know it of the third eye people from the Eye of the Midnight Sun, so he's definitely corrupted in some way. Meanwhile, Finral is going all out, and he's summoning up a bunch of, like, green glob balls to kind of counter it, and one final attack, a giant explosion, and in the end, Finral is on the ground with a bunch of holes punched through him. He is in no shape to do anything. It's not good. He could probably die from just laying on the ground and not getting any help. Also, the crystal got destroyed, so game over, I guess. However, that's not good enough for Langris, and he continues to just lose it, and it's so bad that he is about to kill Finral. So he raises his hand and is about to, like, do that swipe thing at Finral, and that's when the Black Bulls get real badass. You got Asta, you got Magna, you got Langris, you got Vanessa, you got Charmy up at the top doing some stuff with her sheep, you got, Ghosh, I think his name is Ghosh. You got the guy that talks quiet. You got a blue-haired girl that's sometimes a big guy. You got everybody coming down, and they're like, listen, dude, you take another step or move an inch, and we will kill you. You are done. And something's wrong with Langris, and that's clear to everybody that knows what's going on. Really, it's clear to everybody in general, even if they've never met the Eye of the Midnight Sun. He has clearly corrupted himself in all of this anger, and whether he's done something external to himself to power himself up, or whether it's just like, you know, the power of anger and hatred has powered up his magic, and now it's dark and evil magic. I don't know. Either way, something is really, really wrong with him. And that's where we end the episode. It was like, I enjoyed this entire episode as a whole. I liked Finral kind of taking charge. They had some good parts in the beginning with Magna and they had some really good parts with Magna and Luck, and kind of making fun of how Magna's like just a ruffian and he's a jerk, an idiot. And they had some good slapstick kind of comedy going on with that. But that ending, holy moly, really, really cool. Honestly, I'm sure Finral will be fine. They got the Wizard King up top. He's not gonna let anything happen. On top of that, you got nearly the whole Black Bull squad right there. They're not gonna let anything happen. Everything's gonna be chill in the end. However, things getting real spicy. So yeah, I really like this episode a lot. I'm super excited to see what happens. I'm sure the whole tournament is just gonna break down at this point for a time. Asta's gonna go at Langris, and there's gonna be a whole battle before they move on to the next match. Certainly something's gonna happen. I'm not sure this is gonna end well for Langris. Again, Wizard King's right there. He's not gonna let anything bad happen. He even went from having like a ooh cool, everything's awesome look on his face to a real serious look on his face, which we don't see very often because he's just kind of a real chill dude. Either way, I'm sure everything will work out in some capacity, but I don't think that Finral's team, or at least not Finral, is going to move on to the next round. I think it's going to be a little weird because I feel like I see Leo in the opening, and I'm sure that like there's going to be some kind of like finagling where it's like, I'm sure that there'll be some kind of reorganization of the teams or some kind of loophole to help everybody kind of get around this. In any event, I really like this episode. Let me know what you guys thought about down in the comment section. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you want to see more from me, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell so that you get all the notifications when I upload. I will see you guys in another video. This episode was really cool. I liked it, and I'm excited for the next episode. I'll see you guys later.